Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah and the truth. We are on our video on from the BYNV in Genesis. And we are on Bereshith, Genesis 13. And we're going to read 13 and 14 today. And Abram went up from Mitzrayim, or Egypt, into the south, he and his Ashah, or his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him. And Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Ai, or Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahuah. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. And at the time the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, "Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I go to the right, or if you go to the right, then I go to the left." And Lot lifted his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, then that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahuah destroyed Sodom and Amorah, like the garden of Yahuah, like the land of Mitzrayim, as you go toward Sor. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot moved east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram dwelling in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelling in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent as far as Sodom. But the men of Sodom were evil, and sinned before Yahuah, exceedingly so. And after Lot had separated from him, Yahuah said to Abram, "Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see I shall give to you and your seed forever. And I shall make your seed as the dust of the eretz, so that if a man could count the dust of the eretz, then your seed also could be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you." So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahuah. Bereshith, Genesis 14. And it came to be in the Yomim, or the days of Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, that they fought against Bera, sovereign of Sodom, Birsha, sovereign of Amorah, Shinab, sovereign of Admah, Shemaber, sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Sor. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year Kedorlaomer and the sovereigns that were with him came and smote the Rephaim, and in Ashtaroth, Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emites in Shaweh, Kiriathaim, and the Korites in their mountain of Seir, as far as Al-Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they turned back and came to En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekim, and also the Amorites who dwelt in Setson Tamar. and the sovereign of Sodom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Sor, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim against Kedor Laomer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, and Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, and Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, 4 sovereigns against 5. And the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Sodom and Amorah fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Amorah and all their food and went away. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshkoth and brother of Aner, and they had a covenant with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he and his servants divided against them by Lila, or by night, and smote them and pursued them as far as Kobah, which is on the left of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return from the defeat of Kedor Laomer and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaueh, that is the sovereign's valley. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Shalom, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High All. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High All, possessor of the Shamayim and the Eretz. And blessed be the Most High All, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tenth of all. And the sovereign of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to Yahuah, the Most High All, the possessor of the Shamayim and Eretz, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion. I will also read Bereshith, Genesis 15 today as well. After these events, the word of Yahuah came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward is exceedingly great. And then in parentheses it says, Yahusha is the word. And Abram said, Master Yahuah, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, See, you have given me no seed, and see, one born in my house is my heir. And see, the word of Yahuah came to him, saying, This one is not your heir, but he who comes from your own body is your heir. And he brought him outside and said, Look now toward the Shamayim and count the stars, if you are able to count them. And he said to him, So are your seed. And he believed in Yahuah, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am Yahuah, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans, to give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Master Yahuah, whereby do I know that I possess it? And he said to him, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, and a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took all these to him, and cut them in the middle, and placed each half opposite the other. But he did not cut the birds. And the birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And it came to be, when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, Know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. But the nation whom they serve I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out with great possessions. Now as for you, you are to go to your fathers in peace, and you are to be buried at a good old age. Then in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the crookedness of the Amorites is not yet complete. And it was dark, that see, a smoking oven and a burning torch passing between those pieces. On the same yom, or same day, Yahuah made a covenant with Abram, saying, I have given this land to your seed, from the river of Mizraim to the great river, the river Euphrates, with the Canaanite and the Kenizzite and the Cadmonite and the Kittite and the Perizzite and the Raphaim and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Girgashite and the Yebusi. I will also read 16 today. Sorry. And Sarai, Abram's Asha, or Abram's wife, had borne him no children. And she had a Mitzrite, or an Egyptian female servant, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, See, Yahuah has kept me from bearing children. Please go into my female servant. It might be that I am built up by her. And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's Asha, took Hagar, her female servant, the Mitzrite, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his Asha, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. And he went in to Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said to Abram, My wrong be upon you. I gave my female servant into your bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Let Yahuah judge between you and me. And Abram said to Sarai, See, your female servant is in your hand. Do to her what is good in your eyes. And Sarai treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. And the messenger of Yahuah found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's female servant, where have you come from, and where are you going? And she said, I am fleeing from the presence of Sarai, my mistress. And the messenger of Yahuah said to her, Return to your mistress and humble yourself under her hand. And the messenger of Yahuah said to her, I am going to increase your seed greatly, too numerous to be counted. And the messenger of Yahuah said to her, See, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and shall call his name Yishmael, because Yahuah has heard your affliction. And he is to be a wild man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and dwell over against all his brothers. And she called the name of Yahuah, who spoke to her, You are the all who sees, for she said, Even here have I seen after him who sees me. That is why the well was called Bir Lakai Roy. See, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Yishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Yishmael to Abram. Next time we will be reading starting in Genesis 17. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson today. I love you all with an everlasting love, as our Abba Yahuah and the Shamayim loves each and every one of us. I'm going to sing a quick praise song. Okay. Yahuah has blessed us the last 2 days. Praise Yahuah. And I think Bella is out of her heat finally, so things have calmed down a lot for us. And we got a lot better rest last night. Praise Yahuah. This song seems very fitting because Yahuah is awesome. And the song is called Awesome Yah. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He reigns from Shamayim above with wisdom, power, and love. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He brings rain to a dry land. He springs Mahim in a desert land. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He writes his name for all to see. Our Yah is almighty. He came to redeem us, and one day he'll return to separate the wheat from the tares. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He reigns from Shamayim above with wisdom, power, and love. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He shows us what He wants us to see through the tempest, through the whirlwind. He gives us prophecy through our dreams. He is life giver. He made everything on the earth and in the Shamayim. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. He reigns from Shamayim above with wisdom, power, and love. Our Yah is an awesome Yah. Hallelujah. I love you all so much. Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah and the truth. Beanie, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Sorry, your brother scared you. We're going to go for a walk. Yeah. Mommy, Daddy, Roscoe, Bella. Yeah, we're going to go for a walk. Okay. Love you all. Shalom.